Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And I am Mary, and I'm an author and a publisher. And this channel is basically focusing on my journey as a writer and my journey as a publisher. And I want to get in a position to where I can highlight other Black authors because one of the things I realize is that it's very, very hard for Black authors to really break into this industry or to even get their books into popular bookstores like Barnes and Noble. So my goal is to definitely place myself in a position with my platform to highlight other authors as well. So, for all of you that are just subscribing, that are just joining me, thank you. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy to have you a part of this journey. And please continue to keep coming back. Like, comment, and share my channel to any and everybody. And thank you. And I'm so just glad to have you come along on this journey. I decided to do something very different with this vlog right here. I decided to open this vlog up talking about my second book, which is the second book that I am actually reconstructing the story on. So I will show it to you all. My second book is called, well, you can't really see it, but my second book is called A Merciful Sinner's Breaking Point. And basically, the reason why I wrote this book is because I believe that everybody is basically a blink away from insanity and a paycheck away from poverty. So it's mainly like, how can we sit there and judge others when we had not it been by the grace of God would be in the same position of those that we choose to tease and taunt and talk about. So what I want to do with this vlog is I want to read you all a chapter out of my second book. Two reasons. One reason I want to read it because it's going to go into the topic that I want to talk about today. And then the second reason is I want to read it because I also want to show you my talent as a writer because I have just finished up, well, I finished up one project with another lady last week. I am actually finishing up my sister's project, which she's doing an awesome children's story. And I would definitely let you know more about that information as we complete it. And then, thirdly, I am also in the process of looking for my next project. So, if there's anybody out there that have thought about telling their story, wants to tell a story, or wants to tell a story, but you don't know how to get started, please contact me at Maxon Mary, Maxin, Mary, Mary, at gmail.com. You can comment down below or just slide into my DM. However you choose to do it, contact me. We can talk about whatever your writing project is, and we definitely can take your vision from just a vision, put it in paper, and take it from cover to cover. But before I talk too much, let's get started. So the second book that I wrote is called A Merciful Sinner's Breaking Point. And the chapter that I'm going to read you all is called Quiet. Shh, shh, shh. Everybody, just shh. I have a secret to tell you. Please turn off your cell phones, close out everything in your mind, get off the internet, and listen closely to what I have to say. The things that I'm about to tell you are very, very, very important and true to my story. You might even want to close your eyes for this one. Sometimes in life, things aren't always what they seem to be. There are times where you will find out that what is isn't and what isn't is. That was my father, people. Yes, he did all of those nasty things to me. The embarrassment of it all silenced me like a lamb. I had basically become invisible in our little family. My mind could never settle itself. I was afraid to go places for fear that someone might know. For some strange reason, I just always felt like it was my fault. He would tell me that this was our secret and I couldn't tell anyone. Besides, if I did, who'd believe me? I can I can I still can't wrap my finger around the why me factor. Although ever since the first day, I feel like I've been feeling like my mind's been playing tricks on me. I would say that my father started doing those nasty and horrible things to me at the age of 4. He would always ask me to forgive him, which I never understood that. How can I forgive him when he hurt me night after night after night? Truthfully, I don't understand how anyone could be that heartless. Yeah, he was a good guy. In all honesty, who cares? So what? For years, I found myself making excuses for what he did. It was ridiculous. Will my sympathy bring my virginity back? Will my sympathy bring my integrity back? Will my sympathy bring my peace back? Will my sympathy bring my mind back? I thought not. There is no excuse for what he did to me. That's why I don't care about what I did to him. I knew he was crazy at an early age. One night after he defiled me and went to sleep, I was snooping in his room and found some paperwork. It was from the United States Army. They were discharge papers. He'd gotten an honorable discharge. His paperwork had names like PTSD and schizophrenia. First, I was like, what the heck is PTSD? Basically, saying that the military messed his head up. If that's so, then why was he not in some mental institution somewhere? I mean, come on now, let's be real. In my opinion, he got a reprieve because of his mental illness. Now what? How about I have PTSD? Yes, you heard me right. The stress that he put me under messed up my head. Then schizophrenia, wow. So he was hearing voices. Maybe those voices should have told him to leave me alone. Hmm. Don't that make sense to you? So now the voices he heard made him destroy my life. But guess what though? Those same voices started talking to me at the early ages of 9. The only way to shut them up was to steal his Coke 45 beers. Every time he would mess with me, I stole a beer. One day after I overheard my crabby 5th grade teacher, Mrs. June, talking about God, she was telling our cool gym teacher, Mr. Howard, about how she prayed to God to help her grieve for her mom. Me being curious, I asked her, who is God and what is prayer? Both of them looked at me shocked. Mrs. June said, silly you, God is the creator of all of us. The birds, the trees, the water, everything you can think of. Whenever you're going through anything, he can help you. We can pray to him through our tough times. She said to me sincerely. I looked at her more confused than ever. For me, I had never heard of this God person. So, Mrs. June, how much does this God person cost? Or how much does prayer cost? Oh Lord, child, no. Prayer isn't something that you can purchase. It's just talking to God. It's free. Mr. Howard said, almost laughing. You can say whatever you want to God in prayer. All you have to do is sincerely talk from the heart. Always end your prayer saying, in Jesus' name you pray. Mr. Howard said, kneeling down in front of me. I turned on my heels to walk away. When I looked back, they had resumed their conversation as if I had never been there. Dropping my head, all I thought about was this God person. I rushed home from school that day and ran to my room. Dropping down on my knees in front of my bed, I looked up and prayed, Dear God, please make my daddy stop doing those nasty things to me. Dear God, please, pretty please stop my daddy. He's really hurting me. Please stop those voices from talking to me. I'll stop being bad. Dear God, thank you. I got up off the floor. Then I fell down to the floor again in a panic. Oh, yeah, God, I forgot. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. I said, and then I stood up and walked out the room. But he didn't stop. That same night, he did it again. So the next day after school, I ran home and talked to God for the next couple of years. Every day that was my routine, but he never stopped. So one day after he was done with me, he sent me to wash up saying that I stunk. As I stood in the shower, the voices started talking to me. It was so much chatter, I instinctively covered my ears. I was hoping that I could shut them up. The more I talked to God, it seemed like the more the voices talked to me. They just wouldn't leave me alone. They were whispering in my ear and told me that God don't care about me. They told me that God don't love me. So one day after my father hurt me again, I started believing those voices. They started telling me that if God truly loved me, why? Why would he allow my father to do those horrible things to me? I was only 12 years old and my spirit was deeply soiled. The voices were taunting me every day. Day in and day out, that was all I heard were those voices. There was nowhere I could run or hide. It was June 6, 2003. Sometime in the evening, my dad and I were the only ones at home as usual. He made me do those nasty things to him again. Then I ran upstairs and stood in the shower. Where were you? Where were you when I needed you? I needed you. I was bawling my guts out. God, why did you allow my father to do those things to me? Why can't you stop him? Can anyone stop him? As the hot water ran down my face, I cried out in prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. I said as I ended my prayer, stepping out the shower, I wiped the fog out of the mirror. As my reflection became clear, the image scared me. Standing in the mirror, I did not recognize myself anymore. It was like I was looking at me, but it wasn't me. The voices told me to do it. They told me to go downstairs. They told me that I can end it myself. As I stood at the top of the basement steps, I beat my legs to make them stop. They were also listening to the voices because they went down the stairs anyway. They were whispering really bad things in my ear. I stood there at the bottom of the steps watching the dirty brown blanket go up and then down. He was laying flat on his back. His feet were sticking out from up under the cover. The smell of beer, cigarettes, and my body filled up those dingy basement walls. I tiptoed over to the side of his king-size bed. Next, I grabbed the other pillow and I took the black pillowcase off of it. Then I slid it over his head. Finally, I tied the bottom of it into a knot. He barely bugged an inch. When he finally woke up, his muffled screams pleased the voices in my head. I stood there watching his fingers claw at the pillowcase, but my knot was too strong. Then, after about 15 minutes, his body twitched a couple of times and his arms fell along his side. Immediately, I ran upstairs and threw up in the toilet. I've been wrecking my brain trying to figure this one thing out. Sitting there with my head in the toilet, I felt as though my life was set up from the day I was born. I started to gather my strength and went back in the basement. Slowly, I pulled the black pillowcase from off his head. There was thick foam coming out of his mouth. His eyes were staring right at me. However, now instead of me smelling like poop and pee, it was him. I wiped off his face, threw away the pillowcase, and closed his eyes. Then I ran upstairs and sat in my chair. Picking up the phone, I called the only person I could. Jacob. Jacob. Dad's dead. Jacob. Dad's dead. My twin brother said he was on his way home. As I sat in the chair staring at the wall, images of my brother just flashed in my head. I never understood why my dad only touched me. He treated Jacob like the golden child, whereas he treated me like the stepchild. In that moment, that in that moment, it was at that moment that I realized I was no longer Jeremiah. Death and destruction is the only thing that has become of me. So, before anybody make any assumptions, this book has nothing to do with me. This is just a complete story that I developed because I wanted to bring up the topic of mental health, mental illness, and mental awareness. So many people within the Black community and within just the African American community alone, we are so unaware of our mental health status, or we're so unaware of the signs and symptoms that are associated with mental health. Do a lot of you know that one in every third person that you come across right now is battling some form of mental illness, whether it be anxiety, whether it be PTSD, whether it be schizophrenia, whether it be bipolar, whether it be schizoaffective, whether it be postpartum? More than more people than you know are battling some form of mental illness. The problem is the stigma is so harsh, it's so stigmatized that so many people are afraid to seek treatment, afraid to accept their diagnosis, or not only that, they're afraid to share their diagnosis with others because they don't want to feel alienated. Do you know that as right now, at this very moment, that the suicide is one of the top five killers in the United States right now? Not only that, depression and schizophrenia are the two leading causes of suicide right now in the world. And the main means of committing suicide is through opioid abuse. Do you know that more and more people right now are on prescription drug meds, whether it be antidepressants, whether it be a sleep aid, or whether it be pain medication? More and more people are taking pills to just survive day by day. And so the thing is that depression seeps into your mental so quick that when you realize and accept the fact that you are depressed, a lot of times it's at that very darkest point in your life. But see, what a lot of people have to realize is that depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, all of those mental health ailments does not mean that your life has ended. All that means is that your life has just began. Because now there is positive life after being diagnosed. There's definitely positivity in recovery. One of the things that I also have been doing in my life is I have been a speaker for NAMI. I have been an advocate for NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, for about 2 years now. And I've been speaking, and I've just been so blessed to be placed in this position to talk to so many other people. I'm actually just so excited because yesterday we just secured a presentation with the NAACP, so I'll have that information coming up later. But I've been having the opportunity to speak to so many different people about mental health and mental health awareness. And as part of this vlog, I have to be honest and transparent. And in being honest and transparent, I have to admit that I myself has been diagnosed with depression, major depression at times, and anxiety. And I'm still working on my anxiety because now that I've realized is that we are now 3 years out of my motor vehicle accident. My anxiety has now reached another level that I have now became aware of, because one of the things I never thought about is trying to maneuver through a world that's not disability equipped. So in dealing with that reality and in dealing with this world and trying to deal and move around in this world right now in a not disability friendly type world, it has taken my anxiety to a whole nother level. But I have to say that had it not been for me becoming aware of my mental health status and my depression early on, that it has helped me healed through my recovery process. So this vlog, I don't know who this vlog is for, but this vlog is basically about mental health and mental health awareness. And it's basically saying that there is no shame in talking to a therapist. Talking to a therapist is basically talking to somebody that is individually not connected to you by friendship and or by blood and or by a work relationship to you. It's somebody that's not directly connected to you that will listen to you. Because 90% of the time, we try to talk to people and we try to tell them all the time, oh my God, you just don't understand me. You just don't get me. You don't understand what I'm talking about. But it's not meant for them to understand what you're talking about because your journey is your journey. And sometimes people cannot understand or empathize with what you're talking about because they might have their own battle that they're going through. That's why therapy is so important. Therapy is so important. Even with mental health, even with emergency workers like nursing staff, fire, police, EMS. Do you know that due to the fact that I said we as I still work now, but it was my prior profession. But do you know that we have the highest rate of anxiety and depression because of what we are exposed to every day? Every day. When you experience traumatic events every day, your brain is not equipped to handle that. You literally change the brain waves every time you literally change your brain waves every time you experience a traumatic event. So it changes the way you think about things, and it changes the way you look at things, and it changes the way you react to situations. Like, I was literally having a conversation and I was like, I didn't realize that I was emotionless. Like, I have a tendency to be emotionless, but it's not because I don't care. It's because of the profession that I worked in for so many years. I've had to learn how to put my emotions aside. And so it's okay. Like, I just had a friend bring that up to me. It's okay to be in control of your emotions while you're working. But what happens is when you stop working, like, how do you get back in control of your emotions? So I don't want to make this too much of a long vlog, but I don't know who this vlog is for, but NAMI, NAMIGA.gov, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. It's a wonderful organization. There are different branches in every state, every city. They have free. You know, we love everything free. They have free programs such as family to family, peer to peer, caregiver programs. They have programs where they help you deal with your child. Do you know that when a child is diagnosed with a mental illness, you can determine that they're battling a mental illness as early as 9 years old? Yes, as early as 9 years old. You know, it's time now to get your mental health in order. Mental health affects so many aspects of a person's life. You know, that's your joy. When you start losing your joy in life, that's when you start really trying to figure out how are you I don't know, like, how are you being effective anymore? But definitely, I just really want to give this vlog to everybody. I really want everyone to think about their own mental health, or think about those people around you in your circle with depression and schizophrenia being the cause and the root cause of a lot of suicides today. Do you know, not only that, CNN just did an article about the end of last year where it talked about how young African American youth, young adults from the ages to like 16 through 25 are rising and topping the charts for suicide. So this isn't something that so many people are talking about just to have a platform. We're talking about this because there is a necessary need for people to start paying attention to their mental health. Start paying attention to your mental status, like your mental health status. When you start losing your joy in life, then there's a problem. And there is never anything wrong with seeking help, seeking therapy, seeking somebody else outside of your seeking somebody else outside of your comfort, your circle, to listen to you. And that's all it is. I pray that everybody continue to have a good day, a blessed week. Please remember NAMI.org. You can also call the National Suicide Hotline. There's a 1-800 number that's for every state. It does not matter. If you know somebody that you might think that might be battling or dealing with something, or they might be in a low place, you got to remember, just because somebody is angry, irritable, and moody does not make them a bad person. That could just be somebody that is dealing with a lot of issues and needs someone to talk to. But take this message to be a friend, take this message to be an advocate, take this message to just try to help save a life. Suicide is 1 in 5 right now in the top leading killers in the United States. Let me say that again. Suicide is 1 in 5 right now. Is one of the 5 top killers in the United States right now. A lot of times you never know that a person is that low until they're no longer here anymore. So I don't know who this message is for, but be a friend, reach out. You can contact NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. You can call the suicide hotline, call 911. Whatever it is, be a friend, save a life, focus on mental health. But thank you all for coming back in. I am just so blessed to have you all a part of my platform. Trust me, I have definitely more videos coming. And please leave a comment down below. And let me give this PSA again. The story that I read you in the beginning is not about me. It's a story that I developed to bring more to bring the topic of mental health out, but on a deeper, more realistic level. But thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also, I am waiting for that next client. If there's anybody out there who wants to tell their story or have even thought about telling their story, not even their story, just a story. Don't forget, you can email me, drop into my DM, or just leave me a comment down below. But thank you so much for your time, and I wish everybody to have a good day and a good rest of their week. Bye bye.